Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live on A2D Radio, a special March Madness edition of the Sports Hounds. The brackets are out. The brackets are live. As always, the Sports Hounds are presented by Gibson Mayer LLC. Certified accountants visit GibsonMayerLLC.com. Welcome Twitter, welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube, welcome Instagram, welcome Periscope. Let's get right into the bracket. College basketball talk. We should have Farleigh Dickinson head coach Greg Herenda, thanks to the tireless blood, sweat, and tears of our Brad Ryer. He should be calling in at some point during this program, so we'll talk to him. Of course, Farleigh Dickinson won the Northeastern Conference, Brad. They will take on Prairie View A&M for the right to play Gonzaga on Thursday evening. So we look forward to that, ask him about his team, much like we did with Phil Martelli last week. But let's get right into it. Scanzano Sports poll question of the night. Duke, number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Will they win it all? Brad Ryer with us, Frank Vesby producing the show. Brad, your thoughts on Duke and their national championship aspirations?
Yeah, I think they're going to win. I think they have the best player in the country on their team.
Probably the two best players in the country.
Yeah, and I just think they're going to find a way to win. They're not going to have to depend on having a great three-point shooting game to win every game. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. They're deep, and they have enough height and athletic ability, and I think they should be able to win. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they played North Carolina for a third time.
Fourth time,
excuse me. For a fourth time to determine the national championship. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I hear you. Zion Williamson is a special player. I love watching Zion Williamson play basketball. Has there ever been like a Duke superstar that's been this well liked by the people? Because everybody loves this guy. Everyone was disappointed when they saw him hurt. Everyone wanted him to come back. Some people like me advocating for not to come back as to not hurt his NBA draft stock. But I can't ever remember a Duke superstar that's been revered in the sense that Zion Williamson has. Everyone hated Leitner. Everyone hated Redick. Battier made no friends. Jay Williams, he made no friends in the playing in the ACC. So,
although Battier, you know what? Krzyzewski loved Battier.
Everybody loved Battier. Battier was a tremendous player.
He was.
Everyone just hates Duke players because Coach K gets these guys, that are two-way players that hit a bunch of threes and are really intense competitors. They're the type. They get the type of guys that are, they're a pain in the ass when they're on the other team, but if they're on your team, they're an instant fan favorite.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's been the case with them for a long time.
I'm going to be a little contrarian with my bracket this year. I think North Carolina, despite losing to Duke in the ACC semifinals, I have North Carolina winning it all. I think their seniors, Cam Johnson and Luke May, get it done. Kobe White, freshman point guard, playing as good as any point guard in the country. Look, you have a 5-star top 10 draft pick in Nasir Little, and he's the 6th, 7th man on this team. They have a little bit of everything.
They're really deep, too.
Kenny Williams. The list goes on and on. So I have Duke advancing to my Final Four. I think they're going to win the East region over Michigan State. But I have them losing to number 2 seed out of the West, Michigan, in my Final Four. And I think it's going to be North Carolina over Michigan.
And Rob, there is something that's bothering me. Okay?
Yes.
Why in the world is Michigan State in the same bracket as Duke after they buried Michigan yesterday? Technically, if you want to look at it, I mean, they should not have to be playing it against the best team in the country.
Number one overall seed.
Overall
Duke.
seed, you know.
So,
I mean, that just doesn't seem right.
I hear you. And I'm trying not to kill the selection committee today because all my campaigning on Brinkman bracketology all year paid off as Belmont and Temple get into the NCAA tournament. They're going to play each other tomorrow night. Should be a great game. But teams like NC State, teams like TCU, who else didn't get it? UNC Greensboro didn't get in. That was disappointing. I thought they should have gotten in over St. John's or Arizona State. But be that as it may, the small schools, the non-Power 6 conference teams are going to get a chance to prove their worth. So I give the committee a lot of credit for not doing what they did in years past and relying strictly on the RPI, the BPI, this new net efficiency rating that they have, this new quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4 wins that measures the magnitude of wins.
The only problem I have is these play-in games is that the teams that win their conference championships.
I agree with you.
They should not be in the playoff. The play-in win.
Totally
games.
agree with you.
To me, that's not right.
And you look at Farleigh, Dickinson, and Greg Herenda. I mean, Iona, they don't have to be in a play-in game. They were one game above 500, and they go on some miracle run to win their conference tournament. Like, why aren't they in a play-in game?
Yeah, I mean, that's my point.
And it's not a play-in game; it's a first four game. It is an NCAA tournament game, but
it's still a play-in game.
Much of the general public doesn't really
recognize
the NCAA tournament starting until Thursday. When it does start, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
No, it absolutely does, and trust me, the fans.
To answer your question, and it is wrong, and this is where the committee needs to, recognize that teams have airplanes and private modes of transportation to where travel isn't that big of a deal. Because the selection committee pegged Duke as the number one overall seed, and they pegged Michigan State as the top 2 seed. So instead of putting Michigan State with the weakest 1 seed, which is Tennessee, at least in my opinion, is Tennessee. I'm sorry, no.
The weakest 1 seed?
No, the weakest 1 seed.
The weakest 1 seed would have to be
Virginia.
Virginia or Gonzaga. It's one of those schools.
Yeah, Tennessee's a 2 seed.
Gonzaga.
Yeah,
I got confused, Frank, because Tennessee is in my Final Four.
Probably Gonzaga.
So you think Gonzaga? I would say Virginia is the weakest of the 1 seed, losing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Virginia,
whatever,
as the weakest 1 seed. I'm not a fan of their bracket.
But instead of putting them out yesterday,
instead of Michigan State being paired with one of those, they pair them with the number 1 overall seed.
Right.
Because as the top 2 seed, they want to play their regional final in the closest regional final venue to their campus, which is Washington, D.C.
But the fans are going to travel anyway.
I understand.
Yep.
I mean,
I understand.
From what I've understood, Farleigh Dickinson has buses that are going to Dayton as we speak.
And then, like usual, I think the committee got all of the teams right. I do. Because to take St. John's or Arizona State out, you have to put somebody in.
Right.
And there just wasn't enough deserving teams. And their claim was St. John's was the last team in.
Yeah. Which I disagree with, but
well, St. John got what they deserved.
Okay, but who you
they got what they deserve though. They're in the first 4.
And I know a lot of people are arguing that UNC Greensboro should have been in the tourney.
Well,
especially
I think Oregon stole their bid.
Yeah, Oregon stole the bid because they had that unprecedented run in the Pac-12 tournament, which kind of resulted
in a stinky Pac-12.
A stinky Pac-12, yeah.
3 teams.
Yeah, and they made the Pac-12 a 3 bid conference, which in my honest opinion, it should have been 2. It should have been 2, maybe 1 bid to let those smaller schools in. But I mean, looking at this bracket, I think they got it right for the most part.
Some of the seeds are askew.
Some of the seeds are a little off, but I mean, the field. I mean, it's agreeable. I mean, I agree with a lot of the seedings and all that. with the teams, but seedings, hit and miss. But I mean, it's a very competitive field. I mean, looking at
There are really, there
Yeah.
are like 8 teams that could possibly win.
Exactly.
Do you have Duke winning it all, Frank? Do you agree with the
and-
poll
and
question,
what-
or do you disagree with
I
the
actually
poll question?
kind of agree with the poll question. I think Duke,
you think-
looking at the East region itself, I think the Blue Devils themselves, they have themselves an easy road. I'm looking at the potential matchups. I mean, Duke. I mean, I got UCF beating VCU.
As do I, yeah.
So I think Duke will probably they'll at least be an Elite Eight team.
Virginia
going
Tech is an interesting team in
It
the
is.
top of that
Yeah.
East because they're going to get their starting point guard Justin Robinson back
Right.
for their first round game, and presumably throughout the tournament he's going to be healthy. So that's going to be a test in
It
the
is.
Sweet 16 going up against Virginia Tech.
Right.
Now, Virginia Tech just beat Duke in the regular season, but Zion didn't.
Zion
play, so
was
you
out.
can-
Yeah.
You can't really, judge them based on that.
And,
but
al- and
That's
also-
still quality.
It is.
Virginia-
It's a good.
Virginia
Still a
Tech,
quality win, though.
especially with their starting point guard
Yeah.
Justin Robinson back.
And-
Now I do have Duke winning that game. I have
Yeah.
Duke in the Final Four.
I do have Duke in that Final Four as well. I mean, probably my Elite Eight matchup is probably going to be Michigan State Duke, with Duke getting that upper hand.
Yeah, I mean you have the top
Yeah.
1 seed and the top 2 seed in the
Yeah.
same bracket.
And of course, with that top 1 seed, you have the top freshman class in the country. So that basically seals the deal
But
right there to go to the Final
I don't
Four.
have Duke winning it all because A, they're not a good 3-point shooting
That
team.
is true.
If they have a bad shooting night, they could be going home. Cam Reddish has been
yeah.
MIA for the ACC tournament at least. They're going to need Trey Jones, who's been up and down all season, slated to be a first-round pick in the upcoming draft. So Duke is going to have 4 first-round draft picks come June.
Yeah.
Brad hoping that one of them, Zion Williamson or R.J. Barrett, or both somehow are on the Knicks
Both, yeah, right.
come next season.
Let's just get one. I'd be
But-
happy.
You can't deny their talent.
Yeah.
But and I don't I got them falling to Michigan in my Final Four. Michigan's a very balanced team.
Yeah.
And they're one of the few teams in the country, Gonzaga, Florida State, Tennessee being others at the top of my mind, that
Yeah.
can match the physicality of Duke on the
Yeah, that's what I'm
boards and
thinking.
as in terms of forwards. And Michigan is very well coached.
They are.
shoot. They play great defense. The Big Ten got 8 teams in, the most of any.
Wow.
So I think the ACC is the best conference. But the Big
Yeah.
Ten, not
Big-
far behind.
Not far behind.
Remember back in the non-conference, do the ACC Big Ten Challenge? That was a.
Hey, you like
even
Indiana not
7
getting in.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
shouldn't have
Indiana
gotten in.
wasn't too great. I mean,
They should have gotten in.
I mean, they had a great player with Romeo Langford.
They
but,
lost 12 of
They did.
13 games between
and
January
they were very disappointing
Yeah,
this year.
and February. 12 out of
Yeah.
13.
Well, they had high hopes at
And-
the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
though.
And NC State, yeah, because they have a top 10 draft
Yeah,
pick.
with Romeo Langford.
And they have a great coach. But
Yeah.
I mean, you need at least 3 guys to play basketball.
Right. I mean, looking at this West region, I mean,
The West.
the West, yeah, with Gonzaga, Michigan.
I don't trust Gonzaga.
I don't like Gonzaga. They are going
don't
to make a
trust
run
them.
for me, but I'm not going to have them as. I don't have Gonzaga as a Final Four team.
No, I have
I would take Michigan State over them.
what, Gonzaga?
Yeah,
Yeah, but Michigan State, they're not going to
Yeah.
play until
but
the
they're
Final
not.
Four.
They're not.
Right.
Well, yeah, they won't get to play unless they, But that's what annoys me about the fact that Michigan State
Right.
should be.
You're
in
right.
there.
It is wrong.
Michigan should be.
It should be
playing just-
straight.
should be the other
It
way
should be
around.
straight.
I mean,
seeds.
they beat them yesterday. There's no reason. I mean, I just don't.
Who's the weakest 2 seed? Michigan
The weakest
or
2
Tennessee?
seed. Man, that's a good one. I'm going to say Michigan is the
Kentucky,
weaker
maybe?
one.
I don't know.
Michigan's probably the weaker of the 2 seeds. This West region, you got a bunch of upsets waiting to happen. I mean,
I love Florida State in this region.
Florida State is a good one.
Michigan's my Final Four pick, but I think Michigan's going to beat Florida State.
I'm gonna go
in
a
the
little
regional
bit-
final.
I'm going to go a little bit different with this one. I got Nevada in my Final Four.
You have Nevada in your Final Four.
I have Nevada.
You better whoever runs your bracket pool better get. I don't have Nevada beating Florida.
I have Nevada beating Florida, but there's just something about this Nevada team that I don't know.
Play anybody.
They didn't play anyone, and I know they got upset against Utah State.
They rested on their laurels because they knocked out 2 seed Cincinnati last year.
Right.
Which they could do that because they're in the 7-10 game again.
I think they can do it. I think Nevada could make a serious run.
Anybody can do
right.
it. I mean, Loyola Chicago was in the Final Four last year.
Yeah, of course. But I mean,
that
was all thanks to a UMBC upset that caused that mess to happen. But I think Nevada's experience, that I think they could actually surprise people.
Remember who was it? James Madison that one year.
George Mason?
George Mason, I'm sorry.
Yes.
George Mason that one year.
11 seed George Mason, 11 seed VCU made a Final Four. 10 seed Syracuse made a Final
Syracuse,
Four.
Yeah,
yeah, it's happened before.
It's happened before. I just think with Nevada, I don't know, a lot of people were riding high on Nevada going into the season as a potential Final Four contender, maybe a national championship contender.
They didn't schedule anyone, though.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the Mountain West hasn't been great.
Because they get rated by the Power 6 schools. Let's get some comments here. Tom Arnone, what's up, guys? Ken Maskowitz.
Yes.
What's doing, gentlemen? Hope you're having a great Monday. Chrome checks in. Bortles to the Rams. So Jared Goff has Blake Bortles as his backup.
Jared Goff is Blake Bortles.
That's fine. Jake Frio, what's up, boys?
What's up, Jake?
Tennessee got rolled by 20 in the SEC Championship against Arbor. That's from Mike Parker. I know that, Mike, but, I mean, Tennessee doesn't have to play Auburn in the first, second, third, fourth round of the NCAA tournament. I believe in Tennessee. Rick Barnes can be kind of a boob at times. That's my only concern about picking Tennessee to go to my Final Four. But, I mean, Virginia, the South region with Virginia at the top, that's by far the weakest region. You have Virginia, who's a vulnerable 1 seed, can never really seem to get it done. Even though I think this is one of their better teams, and I think they'll make a deep run. You have Tennessee's the 2 seed, who I like, but they're coming off a 20-point defeat in the SEC championship game. 3 seed Purdue, who I'm not the biggest fan of. They're in my Sweet 16 by default because I think they match up really good with Villanova with their size and their strength, and Carson Edwards is an All-American caliber point guard. And then you have 4 seed. Who do we got in the South?
Kansas State. Emo!
Kansas State, who, we'll see if Dean Wade plays on Friday. That's a huge loss for them. And then
X factor right there.
5 seed, we have
Wisconsin,
and then you have the 12, you have the Oregon, UC Irvine people. I have Wisconsin in my Sweet 16 there with Purdue, a couple of.
I do have Wisconsin in my Sweet 16 as well. Sorry, Dad, but I think Wisconsin's gonna beat K-State.
Well, they need Dean Wade.
Yeah, they need Dean Wade. That's the huge question mark. If Dean Wade can play against the Anteaters, I mean, they'll give Wisconsin a run for their money going into the round of 32.
Anteaters?
The Anteaters.
UC Irvine.
I thought they were the Badgers.
Oh, the UC Irvine. Anteaters.
Oh, the UC Irvine. They're the Anteaters.
They're the Anteaters.
David Roska is ready for March Madness.
We love it.
Greg Malakovic, what's up, fam? I think, yes, Duke does win it all, in my opinion. This is why Zion chose Duke to win the ACC and then an NCAA chip.
And then be the king of New York.
It's certainly – I'd rather – he better be the king of New York and not the king of Cleveland.
Well, he better not be the king of Los Angeles.
How's he going to get to Los Angeles?
The Lakers' first-round pick. They fixed the lottery.
They could.
Of course.
Yeah, but
you can't
Lakers
see
are going to be
NBA
trying for Zion.
The NBA. You think it's past the NBA to?
Well, they rigged it so
to make sure LeBron.
They rigged
got,
it in Cleveland's favor multiple times.
to get LeBron.
Yes, they
another
did
player.
rig it for Cleveland. They get Kyrie there, and they
rigged it for Wiggins, but we all know how that Wiggins pick turned out.
Yeah. Well, they did a great job trading him because that guy's a bum.
No, they need to rig it for the Knicks now.
Well,
it's either going to be for the Knicks or the Lakers.
They've been bad enough for long enough. They deserve to get some kind of.
They already had it rigged for him in the 80s. When
Yeah,
they
for
got
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, for Ewing. Yeah, but that was 40 years ago.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's time. I mean, it's been 40 years. We deserve a break now.
Gonzaga, Mike Parker. Gonzaga is what Arizona was last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what he means.
I guess an early exit for the Bulldogs. I mean, looking at the Zags
because they play Q's or Baylor.
They got Q's or Baylor, and
I love Q's in that game. That's one of my
their potential matchups. I
gambling
mean, you have Marquette, Murray, Florida State, or Vermont.
Yeah,
so.
They're going to play Florida State in the Sweet 16 and lose.
That's
hey guys,
what I'm getting.
Historically, hasn't Gonzaga, when they're a very high seed, not done as well as when they are a lower seed?
They do tend to do better when they're a lower seed, yes.
I think they do. They usually do better as a 2 seed or below.
They seem to,
with all of their success, they've been to one Final Four under few and one national championship game performed where they lost to North Carolina. So, yeah, their MO is to come up short, and I think it's because of the conference they play in.
Yeah, the West Coast is
because they do a great job because they have the reputation of a Power 6 school.
Yeah,
and they do a great job in entering these tournaments. They're usually in Maui.
Yeah,
with a bunch of powerhouses and teams play them because they have the reputation of a Power 6
and they can beat those Power 6 teams. We saw it this year when Roy Hachimura got that game winner against Duke. Yeah,
they beat Duke. But then they go in a lull for months where they play in the West Coast Conference and they're not tested at all. They get lulled to sleep. And then when they have to turn it on in the West Coast Conference Championship game against a somewhat their bubble team, they were in the mix for a bid, St. Mary's. You know, they can't just turn it on. Jeez, you all right there?
Jeez.
You right there about that?
Scared me.
Sorry about that, guys.
But you can't just flip it on and flip it off in sports. And that's why I think Gonzaga comes up small in the tournament. But I don't think they're like Arizona last year.
Right.
Arizona had a mutt in Alonzo Trier, who's on the Knicks now, ironically, and DeAndre Ayton, who was the first pick in the draft for the Suns, who actually looks like a pretty good player. But they quit on that team.
They did.
Sean Millers was out of sorts with the FBI scandal, and so
I think that really threw them off, Arizona.
But yeah, I don't see Gonzaga losing before the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Florida State gonna get them. Florida State's a good team. What else we got here? UNC is my winner. That's from Kyle. I agree with Kyle.
That's a good pick.
Kyle Meager, Duke UNC championship, going to be a good one. Hey, if I'm wrong on my bracket and it's not UNC versus Michigan,
that'd be nice to see.
I would love to see Duke and North Carolina.
That would be a nice matchup. A Duke North Carolina, maybe a Duke Kentucky. I mean, you got a lot of good matchups if the right teams go into the Final Four.
Kyle Meager has Zags losing to Marquette.
All right, so that'll be a Sweet 16 matchup.
That'd be a Sweet 16 matchup.
That's possible.
That is definitely possible. We'll have to see what transpires with Marcus Howard's wrist. See if he can go against Murray State. I do like Murray State. I do like Marquette to beat Murray State. I know that's a
really good matchup.
Popular 12-5 upset, but
it's like a coin flip that
Marcus
should
Howard,
be, but it's not.
Marcus Howard and Moran are going to cancel each other out, and then Marquette's just better than Murray State supporting cast-wise. So that's not that hard of a selection for me. I do like Liberty to beat Mississippi State.
Problem with Marquette, is that they have played down to their competition at times.
Well, they have 10 quad 1 wins. So
they also lost twice to St. John, though.
They lost twice to St. John's, and they're backing their way into the tournament. So you're right about that. They lost to Seton Hall and turned into a melee there at the end against Seton Hall in the Big East semifinals. So that's a weird little region. And then in terms of the other 12-5 teams, I love New Mexico State.
Yeah, that's another good one.
I have New Mexico State beating Auburn and beating Kansas to get to my Sweet 16.
I do have New Mexico State pulling off the upset against Auburn. I did see the Aggies in their title game against Grand Canyon to go into the tourney. Man, they are very frustrating to watch. They overwhelmed Grand Canyon, and I think Auburn is going to be a good matchup for a possible 12-5 upset. I definitely got
This is
New
what
Mexico
Auburn's
State.
done all year. They go on a little bit of a hot
Yeah.
streak, and then you think they have it figured out, and then they just go on a losing streak. And plus, Auburn's going to be a really popular Cinderella pick, and I like the fade.
And plus, I'm not a fan of Bruce Pearl, so that makes it easier for me to go against them.
See how much he sweats during the
yeah.
game? He sweats through his suit
Yeah.
jacket.
He gets drenched every single time. It's crazy.
So I like New Mexico State, and I like Belmont. Those are my two double-digit seeds that are going into the Sweet 16 for me. Kyle Meager, I like the Zags, but they looked vulnerable versus St. Mary's. They didn't play good at all against St. Mary's. And give Randy Bennett credit. He had his boys ready to play against a top-notch team, and they got the win, and now they get to go to the NCAA tournament as an auto bid where they probably wouldn't have gotten in otherwise. So St. Mary's and Oregon stole UNC Greensboro's bid. Greg chimes in. My Liberty Flames are my upset special. Let's go. I love Liberty. I don't think Mississippi State is good at all.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Mississippi
Quincy
State.
Witherspoon.
Yeah.
They have.
I mean, they got the players, but they just did not wow me at all this season.
And
Mississippi
I mean,
State.
I'm sorry, SEC getting 7 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, the SEC was not good at all. It's not football.
Yeah, not good at
But
all.
I agree with Greg. I like Liberty. Liberty, I have them winning 1 game, not 2. And like I said, I love Belmont. I love Belmont tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game, Belmont Temple.
Belmont Temple. Because winner of that's going to play Temple.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Turgeon is incompetent.
Yeah,
He's not a good coach at all. The fact that they're a 6 seed with 2
exactly.
NBA caliber guards is just.
And I actually do have an 11-6 upset in that of whoever. If Belmont wins, I have them winning. If Temple wins, I have them winning. And even in the case of Temple wins, does Fran Dunphy on his final season, is he going to have something left in that tank in order for the Owls to make a run? That'll be something special to see.
I'll be rooting because Mark
Yeah.
Turgeon doesn't deserve anything. He doesn't deserve the high-profile recruits he gets.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to have a job at Maryland. He doesn't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. I've never seen a guy do less with the talent he has than Mark Turgeon. It's sad, really, because Maryland's a proud program. I would have fired him last year when Maryland didn't even make the tournament. Maryland, a proud college basketball powerhouse, missing the tournament, that'd be enough for me to just can his ass. But you look at Belmont, Frank.
Yeah.
You got Dylan Windler and
So-
Grayson Murphy. Dylan Windler leads the team in both points and rebounds. Just over 21 points a game, just under 11 boards a game. Then you have Grayson Murphy leading the team in assists at just under 7 and steals just under 2. I mean, those are big time
Yeah.
totals. And then their center, their rim protector, he averages 2 blocks a game. So if you got Maryland advancing in your bracket, I'd rethink that because I would bet green money that Belmont – in fact, I will be betting green money that Belmont will beat Temple tomorrow night and that Belmont will beat Maryland to advance to the second round. And then I think they're going to cruise to the Sweet 16, Frank, because you know why?
Yeah.
Because Yale is going to beat LSU. The 14-3 upset, the Ivy League go into the second round. Big time upset.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Yale-
I'm thinking
Yale-
a Yale upset.
Yale can really score. They're well coached. They play great fundamental basketball, which I can't say that. First off, LSU I don't even know who's coaching their team.
Yeah.
Will Wade has been exiled for his shenanigans with the recruiting scandal. And LSU just has the notorious for recruiting athletes who don't have the best basketball IQ and, disappear at times. Naz Reid, he's 7 foot. If he shows up, LSU is really dangerous, but he doesn't always show up.
Yeah, and
I think this could be a game where LSU might be looking past a bunch of nerds from Yale coming in.
Right.
I think they're going to walk right over them. Not the case. Yale can play.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at, and especially with the scandal going on regarding Will Wade, I think it's going to be too much of a distraction. And compared to last year, like with how Arizona fell apart,
They
they crumbled. So I think this might be the crumbling game for LSU. So, I originally had LSU in one of the brackets that I'm doing, advancing. But the more I think about it, I'm going to have Yale pull off the 14-3 upset.
14-3. Yeah, just like last year, just like
Yeah.
Buffalo was. Get back. Anything going on YouTube? Any YouTube comments, Brad?
Yeah, we have Bob Brinkman saying that Seton Hall is legit with Powell. Thinks that they're going to give Kentucky a hard time.
Yeah, I do. I like
Bryce Blackwell agrees about Yale as an upset.
Love the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Love the Bulldogs. To Bob's point about Seton Hall, I think they beat Wofford. I think they're too athletic, and I think Miles Powell's just too much for Wofford.
Wofford hasn't really beaten anybody, have they?
No, but they've only have.
I mean,
four
I know they're a
losses.
good team, but they
They only have 4 losses. They're ranked in the top 25 for a majority of the season,
Yeah.
and they won the SoCon.
I mean, Seton
And a
Hall's
very-
got
a very
some much
competitive
more.
SoCon.
They got some much more convincing wins on their resume than.
Well, Seton Hall plays up and down to their competition.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So you would like to think that Seton Hall and Miles Powell, they'll have the switch turned on for, a tournament game, albeit not against a big name school. But, Wofford, they're a 7 seed. They have 4 losses. They should get respect.
And they came.
Oh,
out
I
with
think
very
Seton
tough
Hall
s-
will respect them. I
Yeah.
mean, Seton
And then Seton
Hall
Hall
had a battle back to get this NCAA berth. I mean, they got off to a terrible start.
You're right. And then they already have a win at hand over Kentucky.
Yep.
So can they do that again? I know a few of my buddies think that Kentucky's going home in the second round over Seton Hall. I can't get there, even though I'm not the biggest Kentucky
That would be
fan
a
this year.
major upset, though.
But I do have Iowa State as the 6th seed in my Elite 8, beating Kentucky in the
See, I have
Cyclones,
Iowa
huh?
State. I do like Iowa State. I do have them beating Ohio State, and I do have them beating Houston. But I just don't know
like
against.
Houston. I don't like Houston.
How do you
Yeah.
guys justify them beating Kentucky, though?
Who?
Iowa State.
They're hot.
They do. They do play hot basketball,
I mean, do they match up well against them?
but
Yeah, they have,
especially-
the problem with Kentucky is they're not deep.
right.
They lost
This
a
is-
lot of their
this is
depth.
not
with
the
Quade
best of the
Green, their
Calipari
5-star
teams.
recruit, right out of Philly, Roman Catholic, Quade Green.
Yeah.
He left the team mid-season. He's transferring to Washington, and for the most part, they play 5 guys.
Oh, so they have no bench.
Not really.
That could be costly in the NCAA.
And
game.
also, their best player is a big guy as opposed to a guard, which everyone knows. If you've watched any college basketball over the past 20 years,
it's a guard-driven league. Yeah.
guards get
NCAA
hot in the
is a-
tournament.
yeah.
Guards get hot in the tournament. Kemba Walker, Shabazz Napier,
Yeah, we've seen that many,
I mean-
many times.
DiVincenzo in last year's Final
Yeah.
Four. I mean, examples go on and on and on. So I don't know if Kentucky has a guard that's capable of doing that. Iowa State does. Shaylock is,
Yeah,
he can
Shaylock is
be
good,
18 a game. He's playing as good as any guard in the whole country. Like
So he could take over the game.
he could, yes. I mean, P.J. Washington, he's a power forward. Yeah, he could take over the game, but they're gonna need a guard to get it to him. And splitting hairs because Kentucky's gonna be fine against whatever 15 seed they play.
And obviously, an
I
obvious
think
shelling of a 15 seed.
And I think they're going to beat Wofford or Seton Hall.
Yeah.
But, I just don't see Kentucky as a upper echelon Elite Eight Final Four national championship team this year.
But
Kyle checks in with his Final Four. He's got Duke, Nevada, like you, Purdue, and UNC.
Nevada getting some love, huh?
Yeah.
Nevada getting love on the Sports Hounds for sure. Purdue, I can't get behind.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna
Same thing with
walk.
Purdue.
I think they're gonna walk to the Sweet 16 because I think they match up really well with Villanova.
Yeah,
in the second
I think they
round.
beat Villanova. I think that run of Nova title runs is over this year for the Cats. I mean, I have Purdue, Tennessee meeting in the Sweet 16.
But
with
it's just
Tennessee
it's
advancing.
disappointing because first off, I think Nova's going to have a hard time with St. Mary's because I don't think Villanova. Yes, they won the Big East. The Big East was down. They won the regular season and the conference tournament. But I mean, St. Mary's is pest. They're pests. They're annoying.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their hands full with that one, and then they don't match up with Purdue at all.
They don't. I don't like that matchup.
They have absolutely nobody who can check Carson Edwards on the perimeter, and Purdue has size and strength inside, and Villanova
Stat wise,
notoriously
I'm looking up
doesn't have big guys.
and I'm looking up key stats and all that. Purdue has the upper hand of every single matchup possible. So I think this is going to be a win for Purdue.
The South region's terrible.
Yeah, that's
wish-
the one region I do not like.
I wish we could take Michigan State, like Brad said, and put them over in the South so we can have Michigan State in the Final Four.
Yeah, it'd just be a much more compelling.
You flip-flop Tennessee and Michigan State as 2 seeds. Right? I mean, right?
Right, yeah.
Because, Tennessee.
Michigan State's going to give is going to give Duke
Tennessee wouldn't get
one
rolled
heck of
over
a-
by Duke in an
No,
Elite Eight
they
matchup.
wouldn't get run over. They will definitely compete, but I wouldn't expect a rollover.
Michigan State's going to give Duke a run for their money.
I've been bad-mouthing Michigan State all season.
Yeah, but
Team-
Izzo always seems to get the most out of that team in the playoffs. Although last year that they had such a horrible game in the first round, or was it the year before? I can't remember.
They lost to a 15 seed recently.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
believe that was in 2015.
Yeah, that was Long Beach, right?
Norfolk State.
I thought it was Long Beach State.
What year was this?
I think it was 15.
Couple years ago.
Remember Michigan State was a 2 seed?
Middle Tennessee.
Oh, it was Middle Tennessee.
Middle
Yeah.
Tennessee beat 'em.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah, my
They were
my
shooting
alma
Middle
mater's
Tennessee.
rival.
Middle Tennessee
Yeah.
shot the eyes
They
out of the
did.
basket
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah, no,
That's what can happen.
that
Yep.
that matchup aggravated me because I remember when I did the bracket that
Because
year.
everybody had Michigan State
I
as
had-
their champion.
I had Michigan State as champion, but in that entire first round overall, I was perfect until that matchup. I went 22 for 22 until that happened.
And then the whole thing's screwed.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing came apart.
So we'll ask the fam in the chat. We got the Scans Honor Sports poll question tonight. Greg Herenda should be checking in with us sometime in
Hopefully.
our 2-hour program.
Yeah.
He does play tomorrow, so
He's got a game plan. He's got conferences and all that.
he's
So
got. I'm sure
Hopefully he will remember to call us.
yeah,
he'll call.
he'll call.
He'll call.
I hope so.
And then I want to hear from the fam. Who's your Final Four? Who's your double-digit sleeper seeds?
And then
I like Belmont. I like New Mexico State
yeah.
as going to the Sweet 16 as double-digit seeds. I like Yale to take out LSU as a 14 seed. I like Liberty to beat Mississippi State as a 12 seed. I don't know what I'm going to do with that Kansas State-UC Irvine game.
Yeah.
Should I go hunting for some bonus points, upset bonus points if Wade doesn't play? See, the problem is that the bracket pools are going to lock at noon on Thursday.
They do, yeah.
And
So you don't
I don't
know.
think Kansas State plays until
They play on Friday.
Friday night
Yeah.
later. I want to get into my gambling selections.
I'm gonna take a look at the Anteaters and see what they have done to.
They're good. They're 30-5.
They are good, and they did go 15-1 in the Big West. But I'm just not sure.
I mean, Kansas State won the Big 12.
They got a hold of the.
If they lose because of
season,
lose because of injury, I mean,
right.
Okay.
I mean, this is a team that did go to the Elite Eight with almost
I just
everybody.
I don't want Oregon to beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm not convinced with Oregon either.
Pac-12 stinks.
The Pac-12 is
I'm not
awful.
trying to see them play.
I mean, the only reason for me to watch Oregon is Bowl. That's it. I'm just gonna watch Manute's kid play.
Bowl. He's injured.
Oh well.
He's been injured all season. Frank.
Oh, I didn't see. I don't even follow Pac-12 basketball, and I didn't know this until
nobody
now.
Cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
The Ohio Valley and the A10 and the AAC were all better than the Pac-12 this year.
Jeez, I had no idea he was out.
Tom Arnone, his Final Four: Duke, Nevada, UNC, and Tennessee. A lot of Nevada love.
Oh, in Nevada.
A lot of Nevada love. He probably heard me when I was walking in.
Yeah.
About how much I think they stink, and they're not even going to beat Florida, and he threw it out there.
Could be.
All right, let me get to my picks.
All right.
Now these have no bearing on how far I think the team's going to go. These are just lines that I like that I think the fam can make money with. I do like Belmont tomorrow. In a first 4 game, they're laying 3 points to Temple. That game's in Dayton. I think Belmont is a better team. All due respect to the Philadelphia connection here with A2D. Belmont takes out Temple, lay the 3, no problem. Not touching either of Wednesday's playing games because I think Arizona State and St. John's both stink. And,
I would take Arizona State.
Yeah, I like Arizona State in that matchup.
Yeah, St. John's has really, really played poorly.
Now we're going to go to Thursday, a 12:40 tip. We're going to take 7.5. We're going to take Yale to take out LSU.
I'll take that.
I think that's a short line for a 3 seed playing at 14, and I like Yale.
That's a fishy line.
Then at 1:30 on Thursday, it's so great because the first 2 days of the tournament, it's just one after the other, one finish after the other. The way they package their product so they just spill on into each other is just absolutely awesome until midnight. 1:30 New Mexico State. I will take New Mexico State plus 6.5 over Auburn. I do have New Mexico State winning that game. I'll take Seton Hall to beat Wofford. Seton Hall, a 3-point underdog. I think there's too much defense there for Wofford to. And then the play of the day on Thursday, we're going to take Syracuse -2 to take out Baylor. I like Syracuse. I like their talent. I'm not so sure about Baylor. Middle-of-the-road Big 12 team, I'm not really sure. I'll take a middle-of-the-road ACC team over a middle-of-the-road Big 12 team.
I think that's a pretty solid selection.
The ACC is just a far superior conference than the Big 12. So I think that's a big edge for Syracuse. I mean, they have 3 1 seeds, the ACC. Then we're going to get to Friday, and I love Utah State to take out Washington. Love them. Get the Pac-12 on out of there. Utah State is -2.5. Love Utah State. Washington just doesn't do much for me. They lost to Cal down the stretch in the regular season. Cal, they won 6 games. Terrible team. We'll go with Greg's boys, the Liberty Flames. They're getting 7 points.
I'm not convinced with Mississippi State.
Not that I'm like Mr. Liberty over here, but it's more of a pick against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how Villanova is a 6 seed, winning a major conference and winning a major conference tournament, and Mississippi State can just be average AF the whole season, and then they get a 5 seed. I don't get the seeding sometimes of the committee. And then nightcap 9:50 will take Iowa State to take out Ohio State. Iowa State a 5.5 point favorite. Play of the day on Friday is Utah State minus 2.5 over Washington. So those are my selections. Syracuse, Belmont, and Utah State are my plays for the first round. With those other ones, you can you take those as your three, you wheel them, you parlay them, round robin it.
I like it.
So
I like that play.
Do what you will with those. Follow or fade. The choice is yours. I've been pretty good at college basketball this season, though.
Yeah.
You're always good at college basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try college basketball. I like it, but
It's hard.
It's hard, but I love the spreads on college basketball.
All right. Let's get to the Sixers.
All right.
Now, Brad, you actually watched some Philadelphia sports
I
yesterday.
watched a lot of Philadelphia sports yesterday.
That's big praise. Now, is that because, like, the New York sports scene is just in shambles?
No, that was
Because
what was on TV yesterday.
It's true. 3:30.
I mean, listen, you had the Knicks and the Lakers to
game.
start.
Yeah,
And
big win. You guys,
that was we
you guys
actually
beat LeBron.
Yes, we did. And
Mario Hezonja.
Mario Hezonja blocking LeBron's shot to end the game. How great is that? I mean, you know what? The Knicks haven't won too many games, but that was a good win for them. Then we get to the Sixers. I got to tell you, right? Jimmy Butler, in my opinion, is a better player than
I hope
Ben
everyone
Simmons.
just shuts up about Jimmy Butler. Well, I don't
Jimmy
know if he's
Butler-
good or he's worth this.
Jimmy
He's selfish.
Butler
He has a
is
bad attitude. I'm sick of hearing
He
it.
is unbelievable.
I love Jimmy Butler.
He is a great player.
The only way I'm not bringing Jimmy Butler back to the Sixers next season is if I can get my hands on Kevin Durant. Obviously, if I can get
That would be the only way that you wouldn't bring him. Jimmy Butler is a great player.
a two-way guy.
I mean, I'll tell you what. If you ask me between him and Ben Simmons, I'm taking Jimmy every time. Jimmy can not only go to the basket, he can hit that three.
They're different players, so it's not the fairest comparison. Jimmy Butler is a much more polished offensive player.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't guard him yesterday. I mean, listen, Giannis and
Giannis Antetokounmpo,
him and
he dropped
Embiid.
52.
Yeah, I know, but him and Embiid pretty much balanced each other out.
Yes, because Embiid covered Giannis for
Well,
much of the game.
they all kind of hit. He guarded him for a while. Ben Simmons guarded him for a while. I mean, nobody can really guard him. But the whole thing is they kept the rest of the team under control. That was the key. And Milwaukee did make their charge and get back into the game in the fourth quarter, but they never could get it to one possession and have the basketball at the same time.
No, and the Bucks. Look, the Bucks are a great team, but you got to keep an eye on the Malcolm Brogdon injury. Their starting shooting guard. Oh, they kind of play 2-point guards. He's got a plantar fasciitis tear.
Oh boy!
So he's going to be out for
Those
several
Yeah.
games. The only remedy is rest. He doesn't need surgery. He needs
Right.
rest. He needs
Tell you
to-
who I thought played
needs to
very
heal.
well for the Bucks yesterday. It was Brook Lopez. Brook
Yes,
Lopez
but
can
he
still
is a
play.
Non-traditional. Well, he fits their system because Budenholzer wants to shoot
He
threes.
can shoot.
Yes.
He can shoot, and he can guard the bigger guys. I mean, but Joel Embiid yesterday and was great. But
He was
in my
unbelievable.
opinion,
And for the first time in his career, Ben Simmons closed a game.
yeah. But Butler to me was the difference. I mean, Butler every time Milwaukee got close, Butler just put the
But-
dagger in him.
What I don't understand with Sixers fans is what do you want from Jimmy Butler? He's not a 30-point-a-game guy. Like, if that's what you're looking for.
No, but every
he's
big
not going to
shot,
be a third.
every
right.
time there's a big shot, he makes it. I mean, he's done it over and over and over again. I mean, I remember that one game in Brooklyn when he took a three-pointer when the guy was all over him, and he put it in. And it was the game winner at the buzzer. I mean, Jimmy Butler is unbelievable. He's a lot better than he's a lot better player than I thought he was.
Frank, do you have an opinion on that, on why people are haters on Jimmy Butler?
Just because they are.
Like, but you see that too.
Yeah, I see.
He's not that good. He's not a killer. He's got a bad attitude.
Team cancer.
Team cancer. Because sometimes he only scores 14 points a game.
Yeah, and I'll bet that the 10 of those 14 probably are in the fourth quarter when they need him to score.
But what do you want? But what do you want from him? There's only one basketball on the court. J.J. Redick needs his shots. Joe needs his touches. Ben Simmons is the trigger man. He's the point guard. He's always got the basketball in his hands. I mean, Tobias has proven his Tobias took 7 shots.
Tobias was quiet yesterday. He didn't really do it, but the whole thing was
he went 4 for 7 for 12 points. He had
but
7 rebounds and 4 assists.
It never even seemed like he had the ball yesterday, though.
Right, and I mean, 12 points, 7 rebounds. I mean, that's not
a bad game.
Not like he did terrible.
No, that's like a third wheel.
I mean, 13 3-pointers from Joe. I mean, that's a lot. I would like to see that number go down.
Yeah, but you know what? He's such a good outside shooter.
I mean, 4 of 13. That's not good.
Yeah, but he has the ability to make a lot of them, though. He really does. What's
a lot?
Oh, he could make 7, 8 in a game easily.
He could, but
I would rather have him inside because he's almost unstoppable inside.
He is unstoppable. And then Jimmy Butler gets 16 shots. So games where J.J. Redick and Tobias Harris only have 17 shots, and Ben, I know it's disappointing that he's only got eight shots, but he goes 4 for 8 with 8 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. So he almost got one of those empty triple doubles that everyone likes to criticize him for.
But he's distributing. He's distributing the ball.
There's a such thing as that.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I see the way Simmons is able to open up the court and get Jimmy Butler wide open shots yesterday. Embiid was getting wide open shots. I mean, and Jimmy Butler was
maybe I'm underestimating them against the Bucks.
Just banging shot after shot. I mean, that was a phenomenal effort yesterday.
Yeah, 27 points, 8 of 16 shooting. He was also 9 for 13 from the charity stripe. So it's just an overall great. Maybe I underestimated him. I said last week that they didn't have a chance in hell to beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. You know, if Brogdon's out, and I don't know what's wrong with Mirotic since getting him. He plays 24 minutes today. He goes 1 for 7, 0 for 6 from 3 for 2 points.
As the Sixers were in charge yesterday, really from the start, they got out to the big lead. I mean, Milwaukee inevitably did make their run, but they could never get it within. As I said, they never were in a position where they could tie up the game with a basketball.
But if they don't have Brogdon, which it looks like they're not going to have him for a while. Maybe he comes back for.
Is he going to be back for the playoffs?
I mean, they probably won't need him against the 8 seed or the 7 seed.
No, they probably won't.
They'll probably take care of that in 4 or 5 games, whether he's there or not.
But he's got to be. But he's going to have to be there for the second round. He's going.
Yeah, because they're going to have to play the Celtics, the Raptors, or the Sixers.
Yeah, and they're not. Obviously, they're not going to beat the Sixers without him.
And
I mean, I thought they just looked fat. The Sixers yesterday, to me, looked like a championship level kind of team. They really looked good yesterday. It was a very impressive game.
Also, Milwaukee was 16 for 50 from behind the arc, which is
because the Sixers were guarding them.
Sixers
played very good defense yesterday.
Saying, I think the Bucks didn't have their best stuff yesterday.
No, but Giannis had 52 points,
and the Sixers were only able to win by 5. Now, a win's a win, and I'm excited they won because they need to start getting these wins against these upper echelon teams.
Yeah, but the Sixers, there's so much
confidence.
There's so much room for growth with this team. The whole thing is you haven't had Embiid, Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris on the court at the same time. You know, to play together and really get that chemistry. And they were already at a point when JoJo's back only from his 4th game, I think. Look at how well they're playing now. I mean, I think they're going to get better.
They should get better, yes.
These next few games, they're going to get better. I think the Sixers' Achilles heel right now is the Boston Celtics, but they're not going to have to play the Boston Celtics.
They play the Boston Celtics Wednesday.
No, but in the playoffs, they're not going to have to play them.
Well, they might.
Unlikely. It looks like the Celtics are going to come in 4th or 5th, and the Sixers are going to come in 3rd.
Let's see, because this is a big game on Wednesday. Maybe not in the sense that it's going to determine seeding. I mean, Celtics are 5th, Indiana's 4th, the Sixers are 3rd. Celtics 2 games back of the 3 seed, 1 game back of the 4 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I see the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics are going to catch the Sixers. I don't think they're going to catch them.
I wouldn't put it past Boston to take out Milwaukee in the second round if Brogdon's not right.
I wouldn't put it past them either.
So, I mean, then you got to play the Raptors after you beat. Looks like it's going to be the Pistons right now, but hopefully it's the Pistons. I'd much rather play the Pistons than the Nets.
Well, the Nets are going to fall because their schedule for the rest of the season is just beyond ridiculous.
Well,
I've never seen a team with a more difficult schedule. I could see them I could see them winning 2 more games the rest of the season. I think they have to play the Kings and the Lakers. Those are 2 winnable games, but then I think they've got to play Toronto, the Sixers, the Bucks. Who else do they have to play? The Celtics. I mean, I think they have to play all the top teams in the league these next 7-8 games. I mean, their schedule is almost impossible.
Well,
take a look. Bring up the Nets schedule
I'm
because
looking at them right now.
It's unbelievable.
Because I really want them to get. I want the Pistons to be the 6th seed. And
I don't see how the Nets are going to be the 6th seed with the schedule they have left.
Scrolling down. Okay, we're really getting down to it. Not that many games left. Sacramento, Los Angeles.
Okay, those are the 2 winnable games.
West. Then they're at Portland. That's a loss. And they're at the Sixers. That's probably a loss. Boston, Milwaukee, Toronto, Milwaukee. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, their schedule is ridiculous.
I mean, they could
lose all those games.
They
could lose every one of those games except maybe the Laker game and the Sacramento game.
I mean, that's like they could just be outclassed, and
that's the whole thing. I mean, they should have won yesterday.
They're
only three games.
The Magic are the 9 seed.
Were they 3 games ahead of them or 4?
2.5.
2.5. The Nets could fall out of the playoffs with that schedule.
They could.
I'm telling you. I mean, I could see them only winning 2 more games.
Well, I mean, that regardless, the Sixers need to match up against the Pistons as a 6th seed. That's the best case scenario.
They'll beat the Pistons.
Yeah, they'll beat the brains out of it. The Pistons are not good.
No.
Andre Drummond cannot hang with Joel Embiid, and Blake Griffin doesn't really worry me at all.
No,
so,
the Sixers have way more talent.
It's a good win for the boys yesterday against the Bucks, and I hate to be a curmudgeon and a grump about it, but you got to follow that up playing Boston, defeating Boston on Wednesday.
Well, you got to beat Boston. I mean, this bugaboo with Boston. At some point,
they got to play the Hornets first.
At some point, you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to beat the Celtics.
And Joe is not playing tomorrow night against the Hornets.
Well, you should be able to beat the Hornets without him.
We should. Yes.
I know that you may not.
I'm just saying it's a back to back.
Yeah, and there's no
Celtics
point in
are the second half of the back to back.
Well, you got to play him against the Celtics.
Yes, you got to beat the Celtics.
Yeah,
because the more I watch, and the more I observe the NBA, the more I think the Celtics are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, especially with the injury to Malcolm Brogdon, and Mirotic hasn't really been good for them since the trade, and Gasol didn't really play yesterday, so I'm not really sure why they got him.
No, they were going to Brook Lopez yesterday.
Yeah, and that's fine. And
it seemed like Brook Lopez was.
I mean, they have Pat Connaughton.
It seemed like Brook Lopez was guarding Embiid a lot yesterday. I guess to free up Giannis. Yeah, he was trying. Well, nobody really can guard him. That's the whole thing. Nobody can really guard Giannis either. Giannis is, he is really quick for a guy his size. Boy, he moves quickly up. His move to the basket, he's really fast.
Yeah, I mean Pau Gasol hasn't played in 3 straight.
Really impressive.
For the Bucks, which I guess that would be a coach's decision. I don't believe he's injured. So I don't know why they acquired him. They really need to put him in because Mirotic hasn't given them anything, and Brogdon's hurt. So we'll see. The Bucks are in a tough spot, and we're going to see how it shakes out. Sixers, Celtics on Wednesday. Got to beat the Boston Celtics. They're your hated rival. You get punked out by them every time. You got to win Wednesday night. They win Wednesday night, I'll be impressed, and I'll be in on the Sixers again. But until they beat the Celtics on Wednesday, I'm skeptical. Sports Hounds, A2D Radio. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
HUD Radio Sports Hounds. I'm Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby producing. Monday nights, HUD Radio, as always, brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified accountants. Visit GibsonMayerLLC.com. Talk a lot of March Madness the first hour. Love to hear everyone's Final Four, double-digit seeds, going far. Scanzano Sports poll question. Will Duke win the national championship? Keeping it simple these days. Hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. But now we're going to talk some hockey, Brad.
Woo!
Because the Flyers get another stay of execution yesterday.
Indeed, they do.
A 2-1 overtime win over the hated Penguins. And, boy, it brings a smile to my face.
15 seconds, 15 seconds to go in that game, and they tie it up.
That's what they did in the Stadium Series game as well.
They did.
I mean, that was remarkable. And then they win with 3 seconds to go in the 3-on-3 overtime.
I mean, has Scott Gordon earned this job yet?
Oh, absolutely. He has them playing pretty solid hockey.
All due respect to Joel Quenneville. I know he's a Stanley Cup champion. He did great, terrific things with the Chicago Blackhawks.
I think it would be foolish for the Flyers to bring him in at this
I
point.
like Scott Gordon. He's good with the young guys. He's good with the old guys. The players respect him. They've done nothing but win since he took over.
Yeah, they also seem to raise their level of play when they need to.
Which is
when
the
he
sign
asks
of
them,
a good coach.
When he needs them to get on the accelerator and raise their level of play, they seem to do it.
And then he's also got a franchise goaltender, which, at
Carter,
least in my opinion,
Carter Hart last night
stole 2 points from the Penguins last night.
He was just unbelievable last night. Some of the saves he was making were just ridiculous.
When he's really locked in, Brad. You're a bigger hockey X and O guy.
He was last night.
It looks
he's always
in position.
The only way
he
last
shifts
night
from side to side.
The only way you were going to score on him was off of a rebound. I mean, that was how good. Yeah, and it was off of a rebound.
And they win 2-1, and we talked about it earlier. Like, it's a game you had to have.
But you also look at how they shut down the Penguins' power play. I mean, that was impressive. The Flyers right now have, in the last 20 power plays against them, have killed 19. I mean, for a team that was struggling so mightily this year at one point on the penalty kill, the PK has really picked it up, and you got to give them a lot of credit for that. And that's on the coach. That's squarely on the coach.
I love Scott Gordon. He's even got Voracek playing well.
Yeah, Voracek playing defense. By the way, did you like the?
Voracek's been an underachiever in my opinion since he signed that big contract, but Scott Gordon has him playing.
Let me tell you something, and this is what I kind of enjoyed last night. Did you see how Couturier went around Crosby like a hoop around the barrel on the game-winning goal? I mean, yes. Crosby was on him one-on-one, and Couturier went around him like he was standing still, and then he scored. And if I was Couturier, I would have just stared Crosby down right after that because that was sweet. Because
that's in there. That's on the road.
One thing about Sidney Crosby, he is a brilliant offensive player, but he is not a great defensive player.
You get other guys to do that when he's as good as he is.
Well, guess what? This year, he's not one of the leading scorers in the league. He's like 5th or 6th. He's not
down here.
Well, he doesn't
still
have.
3rd in the Metro. They have 88 points. So
yeah, the Penguins
are going to make it.
Listen, the Penguins are going to.
Let's look at the wild card though, because this is what The
Flyers have 10 games left.
They have 10 games left.
I look at their schedule.
As does Columbus. As does Montreal. Montreal's their next game. Carolina has 11 games left.
I look at the Flyers schedule. Okay, and from what I see,
what do you need to get 16 points out of a possible 20?
I think the Flyers have to. I think the Flyers have to at least get 14.
14.
I see 7. I see 7-3 in this.
Okay, why don't you read off the games? 10 games left.
10 games
Fighting
left
for their playoff lives.
Okay, Canadians at Flyers. I think that's a win for the Flyers. Okay, Flyers
at home or away?
It's at home. Canadians have been struggling.
That they have.
The Canadians have been struggling. The only thing I worry about, Carey Price, when he's on, he can be tough.
Montreal 4-6 in their last 10.
Montreal has not played
Flyers 6-3-1.
Right. I think that's a win for the Flyers. I think going to Chicago might be a tough game for them. I could see them losing that game. So that's
but that's a game you got to sack up and win.
I agree.
If you
the Flyers
shouldn't have lost all those games from December 27th to mid-January.
I agree.
Where you got 1 point.
Okay, I'm going to give them a win against the Blackhawks. Okay.
Okay, so that's four
2-0. That's 2-0.
2-0.
Okay, then they play the Islanders. I'm going to give them a win for that game.
They own the Islanders.
3-0.
So that's 3-0.
Okay. They're going to Washington. That's a loss.
You got to give them a loss there.
Okay.
Just be realistic.
Then they play the Maple Leafs. I'm going to give them a loss on that one too.
And they freaking let one get away on Friday night against the Leafs. They were
Leafs,
up 5-2 and they lost 7-6.
The thing about the Leafs is the Leafs can score.
That's going to be the one though that you're going to look
back
at.
Yeah, and I think the Leafs are going to beat them again.
Getting to the YouTube comments.
The next game is at the Hurricanes.
That's a huge game.
I think the Hurricanes win that game. I think that's their third loss.
You got to get a Bettman point. You got to do something. You got to get a Bettman point.
You got to try to.
You got to do something.
You got to try to. Then they play the Rangers. That should be a win.
The Rangers
then
stink,
they stink. Then they go to Dallas to play the Stars. I don't know if the Stars are going to be relevant by then. They're battling for the playoff lives. I believe the Flyers will beat the Stars. Then they go to St. Louis to play the Blues. I think that's a game they're going to lose.
Yeah, Chief has them playing.
The Blues
great
are playing.
hockey.
Yeah, the Blues are playing great hockey. So that's their third loss. And then they close with the Hurricanes. And I think at home, they beat the Hurricanes. So I could see them doing 7-3. I absolutely can.
7-3 gets you 14 points.
Get you 14 points.
Everything's a clean win.
Okay, but the only problem is right now they're 6 points behind, which means that if the other teams which have 10 points, if the other teams have 10 games to go.
Columbus,
if Columbus goes 4-6, let's see Columbus is a
they got all those guys at the deadline and they haven't really taken off.
Well, they're playing better now. Let's see Columbus's schedule. Because Columbus is a team that is the team that they're chasing right now.
Let's see. I have it right here. I'll read it. Don't you think it's more realistic that they get?
I'll tell you what. The Blue Jackets' schedule is very, very favorable. I mean, if you listen to this schedule for the Blue Jackets, they're going to have to try to catch somebody else because
Carolina. You got 2 games against Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Blue Jackets play at Calgary, which is probably going to be a loss. Then they play Edmonton and Vancouver. They're going to win those 2 games. Then they come home for the Islanders. They'll win that game. The Canadians at home. They'll win that game. Then they're in Nashville. They'll probably lose that game. Then they have the Sabres. That's a win. The Bruins at home. That's a win. The Rangers.
Certainly looks
that's a
like
win.
the Blue Jackets
and the Senators. That's a win. The Blue Jackets. They're not going to catch the Blue Jackets. Let's see about the Hurricanes. We'll see how catchable they are.
Where you have to do better than.
Well, they have to do 3 games better. The Penguins.
Well, then they're going to catch Columbus. They're going to have to do better than 7-3, which I don't think.
Well, Columbus, their next 2 games are Pittsburgh at home, and then
the Penguins. They own the.
Yeah, but the Penguins right now, don't forget, they don't have Malkin, they don't have Letang. I mean, those are 2 big losses. I mean, there was a great win for the Flyers last night.
That's not good because we're actually rooting for the Penguins in that game.
Yes, you are. I think the Hurricanes beat the Penguins. Okay,
we're at the 18th.
Then they play.
They play the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm going to give them the win against the Penguins at home. So that's 1-0. Then they play the Lightning. That's 1-1. It doesn't matter where they play the Lightning. The Lightning are going to beat them. 1-1. Then they play Minnesota. They'll beat them 2-1. Canadians.
So this is the team you catch.
Yeah, the Canadians. They'll beat the Canadians. That's 3-1. Then they play at Washington. That's a loss. Actually, they play at home and home with Washington. I'm going to say that they're both losses. So that's 3-3. They play the Flyers. I think at home. I think they'll win that game. That's 4-3. Then they play the Penguins again in Pittsburgh. They'll lose that game. So that's 4-4. Then the Hurricanes play at Toronto. That's a loss. That's 4-5. Then they play the Devils. They'll win that game. That's 5-5. And then they play the Flyers in Philadelphia. So that's 5-6. So the Flyers, if the Flyers have got to do better than 7-3. They're going to have to go 8-2.
catch Carolina.
Yeah, they're going to have to go 8-2 because Carolina's got some tough games, but they got a lot of home games. I think the Flyers are going to have to go 8-2. They certainly can do that. I mean, their schedule is such that there's plenty of winnable games in there. There's no games that they can't win. I mean, I'm saying they can't beat Washington, but you know what? Washington has off games too. You never know; they could get a Bettman point.
Bryce Blackwell, he likes Scott Gordon. He thinks he should stay.
I agree. Scott Gordon's done an excellent job.
Why should you go out and pay Quenneville all that money when you have a great coach in house?
He also is familiar with all the players, and he's also familiar with your farm system.
Big time farm system.
Yeah.
He's a Lehigh Valley coach.
By the way, how great has James Van Riemsdyk been since he's got
He's
back?
been phenomenal.
He's
been phenomenal.
He's been one of the keys to the team. I mean, he's one of these guys. When he turns it on, he's very hard to stop. He's just so big, so fast, so strong, and he goes to the net. And I know that the Flyers got rid of Wayne Simmons, but this guy basically does what Wayne Simmons does, but he also can go in the corners, get the puck, and make plays.
He scores goals.
Yeah, and
Simmons only gets garbage goals.
Simmons stands in front of the net and gets garbage goals, and listen, that's fine, but this guy's a much better all-around player, and he's a good defender, and I think he's a big difference.
I'm not so sure that Phil Myers and Sanheim aren't better than Provorov and Ghost.
Ghost has not been all that good.
Ghost is Ghost is an offensive defenseman.
Yeah, but he's not.
You need to have the right pair with him.
One thing that I have noticed with Ghost, and I have to tell you, I don't think he's a top pairing defenseman.
I agree with you.
I think he's more of a defense 3 or a defense 4 guy. Maybe a defense 4 or 5 guy. He's got to have the right partner.
And he's useful on the power play.
Yeah, he's very good on the power play, but he's the kind of guy he's got to have a real good defensive defenseman.
Well,
playing
I hear
behind
Provorov and how good he is and how promising he is. I mean, he's got a -14 this year.
Provorov has had a rough.
He's had a very rough season.
Yeah, he's been uneven, but he's been playing better lately. But I'll tell you what, the way Carter Hart played last night, he just bailed him out time and time again. And the penalty killing last night, I mean, I can't even remember the Penguins getting any shots on goal in any of those power plays. It was unbelievable. I mean, the Flyers were just getting out in front and not allowing the Penguins room to breathe. It was amazing because when the Penguins were out there playing 5-on-5, they were getting a lot of opportunities, and especially in the second period. And Carter Hart was able to keep the Flyers in the game, and you got to give them a lot of credit. And even with that goal, that disputed goal that went in,
right?
And they claimed that it was interference.
I got to be honest with you, though. I saw Flyers highlights. I had the Sixers, and I had the selection show, and then I had.
Well, the goal that the Flyers scored that was disallowed. What happened was the Flyers scored. They took it off the board, claiming that that one of the Flyers banged into Murray's stick and knocked him off balance. But it turned out that it was Johnson's stick on the Penguins that knocked Murray off balance. Then the Penguins decided, since they gave him the goal, the Penguins decided to challenge it for offside, which the Flyers clearly were. So it went from a disallowed goal to an allowed goal to a disallowed goal.
It's risky to challenge in hockey because if you lose, you get a bench minor.
Well, you only get a bench minor if you challenge for offside.
Okay.
And
which they tried to do.
Which they did, and they were offside.
Well, they won.
Yeah, they won the challenge. But most of the time when you make that challenge, that's if a team challenges for offside, 95% of the time they're going to be right.
Right.
So I mean, because they don't do that unless they're told from upstairs.
You can't.
Huh?
You can't. That's a steep penalty.
Yeah. Well, because they don't want
you challenge offsides against Tampa Bay or Washington, you might as well just put a goal right on the board.
Yeah, well, particularly against Tampa Bay.
If you give them just a free power play,
absolutely,
that's not smart.
Absolutely. And I gotta tell you, I've been watching a lot of Toronto lately, and Toronto is a weird team. You know,
they can really score. They can't defend.
Well,
struggle defending.
They go into these. They're a very strange team because they'll sit there and they'll go into these funks where they're just kind of standing around and not doing anything, and then they'll get scored on, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden, somebody steps on the gas or something happens. Somebody gets somebody revved up, and then they go on a run. When they start going on a run and they start putting the puck in the net, they just don't stop. I mean, that is one deep scoring team. I don't know that I
saw the game on Friday with the Fly. They were down 5-2. I mean, 5-2 in hockey. I mean, that's usually
a win. That's usually a win.
You know, I mean, then they're down. You blink your eyes and they're down 7-5.
I think part of the problem with Toronto, I'm not crazy about their goaltending. I'm really not. I've said in the past I'm not crazy about Freddie Anderson. I don't really like him. I don't know about Sparks either. I don't know if he's the answer. And that could be a problem with the Leafs in the playoffs. One thing about Boston is a much more solid team. They're not quite as explosive as Toronto, but they're physical enough to slow them down, and they play well enough defensively that when Toronto goes into these binges where they just start scoring and the ice gets tilted, they can at least keep them somewhat under control. Because Boston has some guys who can score. I mean, David Pastrnak can score goals, and of course our buddy Mr. Filthy, he can score goals too. I mean, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on Boston who can score. And
who's Mr. Filthy? Chara?
No. Chara is not Mr. Filthy.
Who is Lucic?
No, Brad Marchand.
Marchand. That's what I meant.
Mr. Filthy.
Lucic is on.
Lucic is on Edmonton.
He's on Edmonton.
Yeah, he's kind of over.
He screwed them because he gets $7 million a year.
Yeah,
he can't even skate.
He's not good anymore, and he can't even fight anymore. To be honest with you, he had a fight with Gabriel on the Devils last week, and I don't think he won that fight. To be quite honest with you, but I'm a pretty difficult. I'm a different kind of grader. I don't care how many punches you throw. I want to see the ones that connect.
Quality.
Yeah,
quality over quantity.
I want to see the one that hits the guy in the face, and Gabriel got a lot of shots in. And
so
Lucic is old.
Your evaluation of the Flyers is
I think the Flyers have a shot. The problem is
what do you think their percentage is to make the playoffs?
They've got to get 16 points out of the last 20.
So that's 8-2.
Yeah, they've got to do that because the problem is, the Senators, not the Senators. I'm sorry. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Columbus
That was a tough
Blue Jackets.
schedule for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, but they have a lot of home games though, and they're good.
David Roska says Lucic should be traded this year.
Who's gonna
you
take
can't trade
him?
He makes too much money.
Nobody wants
their hamstrung.
Nobody wants a big lump of crap on their team that can't play anymore.
And
not when he's making that kind of money. If he was a $2 million player,
there's almost no point in them having Connor McDavid.
Oh, Edmonton?
Yeah.
Well,
They're gonna waste
Leon.
him. It's like the Giants with
Saquon
Saquon Barkley. They're wasting him.
Well, they have Leon Draisaitl too. Leon Draisaitl is a superstar as well.
When you have my point is when you have a contract as bad as Lucic's, I mean, we complain all the time.
You got to buy him. Edmonton's gonna have to buy him out. I mean, it's gotten to that point.
But I complain about Voracek. I know other fans complain about.
Yeah, but at least Voracek. These
guys are on the ice contributing and scoring points.
Lucic is done. He's
cooked, making $7 million a year. That's a ton for those you don't know. $7 million a year. That's not that much. That's a lot.
No, that's a lot. They have to buy. They're going to have to buy him out, which would mean that'll give them some salary cap relief. They have been making a late run, Edmonton, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either. I don't think they're the kind of team that they're just not gritty enough defensively. Edmonton has some talent. I mean, they need to get that one defenseman who's going to go out there and
Oilers, that is.
Yeah, Edmonton. Edmonton needs a defenseman, a real good defenseman, in the worst way. I mean, Darnell Nurse. They keep thinking he's going to be the one, and he constantly disappoints. I mean, when is Darnell Nurse actually going to go out there and become the man that everybody expects him to be defensively? He's been very disappointing. He's part of the problem. But, I mean, they still have McDavid and Draisaitl, and those guys, those are two elite players.
All right, let's transition, Brad, to Major League Baseball. A little bit of scare for us Phillies fans this week.
Yeah, but Bryce Harper is a tough guy.
He's a tough guy, and thank God he's fine. But he got hit in the ankle with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. The man's name was Matt Thornton. That doesn't have a chance in hell at ever playing in the major leagues, even for a stinky team like the Toronto Blue Jays. Plunked him on the ankle, 96 miles an hour. Played the next day, thank God. X-rays negative, so Bryce Harper.
Just a bruise. He's fine.
Just a bruise. He's fine. He played the next day. He got his first hit of spring training day. He smacked the single up the middle.
He'll be fine. It may take him an extra week or two to get his swing down.
Unacceptable, Brad.
Because he missed.
Unacceptable.
But in a week or two the season starts. So you're fine.
I don't pay a guy $330 million to
want him
walk in spring training, Brad.
Oh, so you want 20 home runs in spring training too?
I'm kidding.
Okay, I know. I'm joking.
Yeah, Bryce Harper and the Phillies are gonna be fine.
He'll be fine.
We're 10 days away from
opening day.
Yes, and there's still some pretty high-profile pitchers not signed. And
Dallas Keuchel, Gio Gonzalez, and Craig Kimbrell.
Gio Gonzalez is not a high-profile guy.
Well, he's okay.
No, he stinks. Stop.
I think if he goes to the American League, I think he'll get slaughtered.
Kimbrell and Keuchel remain unemployed.
And they're both pretty good.
The Braves should be in the mix. I don't know why the Astros aren't looking in to bring him back.
Because they think that McHugh is going to be the answer in the 3-hole.
And I know they like I know they like Josh James. They're a young gun there.
Mm-hmm. So I mean they're gonna.
But I mean I would bring Keuchel back if I'm the Astros just in case, because you have. I know the Yankees and the Red Sox have stacked lineups, but.
I guess they're going to have, Peacock pitching
Houston's 1 through 5, talking about their batting order.
Oh, 1 through 5 is phenomenal.
It's quite lethal.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, listen, Houston's a real good team, and they got Mickey Brantley now. They got Michael Brantley now.
We have breaking news. They must have heard us. We have breaking news of the MLB.
Oh, let me get the sweeper.
Does look like your Yankees have signed Gio Gonzalez.
Did I tell you that at the beginning of the beginning of the evening?
Nitro Freak, which is, I believe, Kyle's
YouTube
alias.
I am a little concerned about Gio Gonzalez because thinking about him pitching in Fenway Park could be a very, 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 very ugly situation. But look.
Yeah, but you got to think that he's
there
because he's going to be there until CC and Sevy are good to go.
Right, because because right now your other choices for your fourth and pitchers are Loizaga, Herman, and Sessa. And Herman and Sessa have been outstanding in the exhibition season. Loizaga has been getting shelled. But I don't know about either one of them. They have not been able to prove anything yet at the major league level. Although I got to tell you, I mean, and I'm pretty tough on my guys, but Herman has
tough
good.
On your guys. Everyone thinks you're tough on Philly. I've never seen a guy go after their own.
Herman has
like Brad goes
I
after
can be
Yankees
an alligator.
I
can be an alligator. Herman has good stuff.
Boy, man, I remember you McAdoo, man. You showed him. You gave him tongue lashing after tongue lashing.
Because he's a moron. I mean, the man is a certifiable moron.
Who's the Jerry Reese as well?
Jerry Reese should have been fired in 2014. Okay, they kept him around 3 years too long. Completely useless man. I mean, he's got the Barack Obama syndrome.
Nitro Freak.
He took credit. He took credit for another man's work and made like he was the hero. Ernie Accorsi built the Giants, not Jerry Reese. Ernie Accorsi built it. Jerry Reese destroyed it. And that's basically what happened.
Nitro Freak, Gio is here to replace CC or fill in at times. I mean, good luck. I mean, I hope he does well. He probably will do well because when guys put on those Yankee pinstripes, he seems to have
left-handed pitchers usually fare well
he's a lefty
in Yankee Stadium.
That's why I love James Paxton in fantasy.
James Paxton is going to have a good year. He's been pitching real well in preseason.
But I mean,
I like the deal because I look at it this way: if Severino is only out for a month, okay, the Yankees in April are really going to need Gio Gonzalez. And for the most part, they're going to be playing against teams like the Kansas City Royals, the Baltimore Orioles, the Detroit Tigers.
The Orioles stink. So do the Tigers.
Yeah, and
I think the Royals could jump up and,
I think the Royals are going to jump up and win 70 games. That's what I think.
I don't think they're going to lose 100 games like they did. I think they were the second worst team in the majors last year.
Well, they're going to be pretty much as bad this year.
Alberto Mondesi.
They're horrible.
Like him.
The Royals.
Whit Merrifield.
The Royals are terrible. They're going to be one of the worst. If they're not the worst team in the American League,
no, the Orioles are the worst team ever.
They're
going to break they're going to break the record, the Mets record for most losses.
The Orioles are really bad.
They're awful.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
The Orioles will be the worst team in the American League, but Kansas City will be the second worst team in the American League. Yeah.
Not Detroit.
No.
I don't think Seattle's very good either.
They're still better than Kansas City.
I mean,
Kansas City is they're just awful.
I always like Kansas
losing
City. I always like the Royals.
Losing Salvi
They're fun
Perez,
to watch on their little. That's true.
They are, but losing Salvi Perez is a killer. I mean,
it is a killer.
He's their leader. He was their number 3 hitter. I mean, he's their catcher. I mean, he's the man there, and losing him for the season, I don't see how that team can compete at all. I mean, they have nobody now on that team. That's why I can't see it. I think it's going to be a very long year, and they have no pitching. So I mean the Yankees will be fine, and I do like the fact that they bring in Gio. Gio can if Gio is not one of the starting pitchers, he can always come in and give them 2 or 3 innings in a game when they need long relief, if they want to pull one of those Tampa Bay kind of games.
You're going to need Sevy back to hang with the Red Sox for 162 games, and I think that the Rays
Sevy will be back by May 1st.
Improved too.
Oh yeah, they have Charlie Morton now.
They have Morton, they have Pham for the full season, and
they're going to be good. I don't see them hanging with the Yankees and the Red Sox though.
They could grab the second wild card.
They absolutely can, and they would be very tough to deal with.
That would probably be my prediction.
And you know what? That would be they'd be very tough to deal with because Blake Snell would be pitching.
Probably going to steal game 1.
The playoff game.
Yes, and that's single elimination.
Yep. So I mean, if you play Tampa Bay in a 1-game series,
Kyle has the over/under at 97 games
for the Yankees.
Over/under for the Yankees.
Oh, I like the over.
You like the over?
Yeah, I think the Yankees are going to win 100 games.
And Kyle thinks the Yanks are going to win 106 games. You got Hicks banged up. You got CC and Sevy probably going to start on the DL. Backs are tough.
However, if you take a look at who's going to be playing, that means Stanton will play left, Gardner will move to center. You'll have Greg Bird be the DH, and Voit will play first base. And the way those 2 guys have been hitting in the spring, I'm anxious to see what they can do. I think if Tulo struggles, you'll see Gleyber Torres playing short, and you'll see LeMahieu playing second base.
Yeah, I would expect
until Didi gets back.
I would expect
until Didi gets back, and I think they'll be
that way.
I think the Yankees are going to be fine.
I think Tulo's shot. I don't think that was a smart signing. I like the LeMahieu signing, and I like Gleyber Torres a lot.
I look at it this way with Tulo. Okay, they really didn't invest anything. He's making the major league minimum with the Yankees. So I mean, it's a gamble. It's a good gamble because I think that Tulo, if supposedly from what I've heard, defensively he's all the way back. It's his bat that's a little slow. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if he doesn't hit, he's not going to play, and then Gleyber will move to short, and LeMahieu will play second, and they'll be like that until Didi Gregorius gets back. And Didi Gregorius will probably get back around the beginning to middle of July, and they'll be fine. I mean, it's not like it's going to be the whole season like that. And, at that point, the toughest injury for the Yankees was Estevan Florial getting a broken wrist.
That's tough.
That's a tough one because he was probably going to be used as trade bait for Bumgarner in the middle of the season if San Francisco decides to let him go, and now he's going to miss 2 months. So
he'll be back by July. You'll be able to trade him still.
Yeah, but he's going to have to come back and hit.
I mean, it's a long game with these prospects.
Yeah, it is. It is.
He's a highly regarded prospect, and
Well, right now he's considered their number one prospect. Yankees have a lot of arms in their farm system.
It's a
as
break.
Well.
It's a break.
Yeah.
Like bones heal. He didn't need
Yes, they
Tommy
do.
John.
No.
He's not a pitcher with a bad elbow or anything like that.
No, but he can really hit though. I'll tell you what, he can
Nitro
swing that
Freak.
bat.
The Phillies are at an 89 over/under. I like the over. I think they win 94 games. I think they win the National League East. I think they pull away in the National League East.
Yeah, I
And
like the over.
I think they're the favorites in the National League. I think
I like
the
the over.
National League is not strong. The top tier teams in Major League Baseball play in the American League: the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Astros.
And don't throw out. Don't go to bed on the Indians either.
I've been a sleep ball winner on the Indians.
Indians made an interesting move today.
They signed
Picking up
Carlos.
Cargo.
They did sign Cargo.
I think
They
that
desperately needed outfield.
yeah, I don't think that's a bad move. I think Cargo in that stadium is going to do fine because that's a very friendly.
I mean, we'll see.
right field.
I would watch out for the Twins there in the Central.
I know, but I don't like their pitching. I really don't. You look at Cleveland's starting pitching.
It's
you
very
still
good.
you have Kluber, you have Bauer, you have Carrasco.
Well, look at the Mets last year. They had the third best ERA in the National League, and
I know, but they
you
couldn't
got no
hit.
guts because you can't hit.
They couldn't hit. But
And
Cleveland
I don't
can.
think their bullpen is
Cleveland has some guys that can
that
hit.
great.
Cleveland can hit the ball though.
Well, Francisco Lindor won't be hitting at least to start off the season. He's
But
going
he'll
to
be
on the
there.
DL.
But he'll be there in May.
Okay,
He'll be
but,
back- he'll
I
be
picked
back in
Josh
May.
Donaldson on my fantasy baseball team last year, and Josh Donaldson missed the whole year with a calf injury, pretty much.
And I had him the year before, and he missed half the season with a hamstring injury. So I feel your pain there. I understand that.
We got our fantasy baseball draft coming up.
Yes, we do. But
And-
I still like the Dodgers in the National League,
Like based on what?
based on the fact that
Where are they better than the Phillies?
they're starting pitching and their bullpen.
You sure about that? Their bullpen? I know they have Jansen at the back, but
Yeah,
I think the
Jansen is
I
still
think the
really
Phillies
good.
should sign. I would have signed Craig Kimbrell if I was Clintac the day
Oh,
after
I
he
would-
signed Harper.
I would too. I mean, I still think that's something that they could
You
end
get
up
an
doing.
experienced guy in the ninth, and then you can use Dominguez and Robertson for your high leverage outs in the middle of the game.
I think they're both.
I think it's a no-brainer
I think they're both better served doing that too.
than closing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I'm not crazy about Robertson as a closer. I'm just
I'm
just
not.
not. I mean, he's great in the eighth inning. Don't get me wrong. And and Robertson can also pitch more than one inning. He can give you 2 innings. I mean, that's the
Two
that's
inning,
the one.
one and a third. Like,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
the one. That's the one really good thing about Robertson. You can get him up. He can pitch an extra inning for you if you need him to.
But to answer Kyle, I mean, I'm over 89.
I think they're gonna. I think the Phillies are gonna win between 93 and 96 games.
But I mean, look at the everyday 8 between the Dodgers and the Phillies. I mean, the Phillies really have a leg up at most of the positions.
Okay, first base.
First base, Hoskins, Bellinger. We'll call that a wash.
Okay.
Who do the Dodgers have at second? Let me bring it up.
Don't they have the guy from the Twins, or did they re-sign him?
No,
Dozier.
he's on the Nationals.
Okay. Muncy, isn't it? Isn't it Max Muncy is the second baseman?
He's capable of playing. He's capable of playing second.
I thought he played second base.
Let's see how this is going to be according to RotoChamp, one of my second favorite baseball website outside of Baseball Reference.
Okay. What do we have here?
So yeah, they do have Max Muncy at second base.
Max Muncy is very good. Seager is not
okay.
going to play till what, May? Did I hear that, or
Corey
is that the
Seager will be ready to play on opening day.
Okay, it's the other Seager then.
Kyle Seager,
Kyle,
yeah,
the guy
he's
on
out,
Seattle.
He's out for a while.
Okay, so Corey Seager at short.
I mean, I guess. Then you have Pollock, who's always hurt. You have Chris Taylor.
Third base. You have to give to the Dodgers too.
Yeah, they have Turner, and we have Franco. So yeah, that's one. But I mean,
The outfield.
I'll take Herrera, Harper, and McCutcheon over Jock Peterson, Chris Taylor, and A.J. Pollock.
Me too.
And I mean, JT Realmuto is the best catcher in the league, so
I would agree.
He's certainly way better than Austin Barnes. JT Realmuto is about to have a big year. He is tearing the cover off the ball in spring training.
He is outstanding.
I think he's going to hit.
But once
Hoskins and Realmuto are going to get so many fastballs to hit because of Harper.
that's true, but I mean, I still think the Dodgers have way better starting pitching right now. I mean, you take a look at their top 3 pitchers: Buehler, Kershaw, and Stripling. I mean, they're
okay. Well, Kershaw not going to be ready for opening day,
but he's going to be back probably by the middle of April. I mean, he's throwing again. He's not going to miss that many starts. I mean, it's not like he's going to miss more than maybe 2 starts. So I mean, between Kershaw,
Ryu, Stripling, you're right. I mean,
they have
yes.
They have better pitching.
I can't really argue that it's not better. I think you're overvaluing how much better it is than the Phillies.
Phillies have one real good. They have one great pitcher. Okay, I mean, Nola's great, no question. I don't know about Arrieta. Arrieta has to show me that he can still pitch, be a big time pitcher, and not pitch like a number 4 or number 5 pitcher. Because last year he looked like a 4 or a 5.
I mean, and then their bullpen. I mean, okay, Jansen is one of the best, no doubt about it. You have Scott Alexander, Joe Kelly, Pedro Baez.
Joe Kelly is good.
Joe Kelly, yes.
Joe Kelly is
Red
good.
Sox, Joe Kelly,
he's
right?
good. He's a good.
He was a big free agent signing for
Yeah,
them, and they really needed him.
Yeah, and that's a big. I mean, that's a big signing for them.
Scott Alexander. I mean,
he's okay. Who's the rest of the guys on there?
Dylan Floro, Pedro Baez, Tony
Baez is
Cingrani,
okay.
who's
Cingrani's not that good.
JT. I never even heard of Jamie Schultz or JT Chargoyas.
Don't know them.
But okay. And you have the Phillies.
Well, the Phillies bullpen. I mean, you look at the two. You look at the 2 key relief pitchers for the Dodgers right now, Kelly and Kelly. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm looking at an everyday 8 of McCutchen, Segura, Harper, Hoskins, Realmuto, Franco, Herrera, Cesar. That's extremely, extremely potent.
Okay.
Roto Champs has the Phillies projected at 87 wins, second place in the National League East. That's
I disagree
a
with
load
that.
of crap. 87
I
is
disagree
way
with
too
that.
low. They're going to be way closer to 95. And the Nationals have a good team. I'm not going to try and
They're
take
saying
everything.
the Mets are going to be 87 and 75.
That's correct.
And they're going to have a better record than the Braves.
They have the Braves in 4th.
Where can I go to bet this guy?
I don't know. Sugar House, Roto Champ. I don't know.
I mean, what are they smoking? The Mets are going to be 87 and 75. Does anybody care to bet that that's not going to happen?
So
I doubt that that's going to. I doubt very seriously their record's going to be that good.
So according to their projections, it'll be the Nationals in the East, the Cardinals in the Central, which I don't agree with at all. I love the Reds. The Dodgers with the Phillies as the number 1 wild card and the Mets as the number 2 wild card.
No.
In the NL, which I don't really.
No.
I'm not digging that at all. This is the analytics.
The Mets
These are the projections,
and the Phillies over the Brewers?
What?
Over the Brewers and the Cubs? Stop.
I think
Stop.
the Cubs.
Well,
I actually like their
All right,
projection on the Cubs.
who wrote this?
This is win-loss projections via Roto Champ.
Roto Champ. I got 2 questions for you. Well, 1, what are you smoking? 2, may I have some?
Yeah.
Because what? The Mets as a wild card team?
Second
the
wild
Mets,
card.
The Mets
They have
over
the Phillies.
Brewers?
They have the Phillies and the Mets at both at 87 and 75. Wild cards
No.
1 and wild card 2.
Let me guess. And the Nationals, no, the Braves take the East, right?
No, the Braves are in 4th place.
Yeah, Nationals.
What?
Phillies.
Oh,
Mets.
my God.
So you got 3 teams from the East. It's according to Roto Champ. These are not my.
What?
predictions.
So
you got 3 from the East.
No.
The Dodgers running
You can't
away
have
with
the
the
Mets
West.
at 3rd.
And then only 1 from the Central as well, the Cardinals. Which I don't think the
Jeez.
Cardinals are all that great, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the Brewers only 85 and 77.
Yikes.
With that lineup, the Brewers are gonna tear
See,
people
I like,
up.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Reds.
Yeah, I still like the Brewers in that division.
I like the Reds. I think Puig's gonna have a big season. I think
in that stadium, Puig should have 30, 35 home runs, right?
yeah.
In Cincinnati, in that bandbox.
As long as he keeps his head out of his
Oh,
ass.
yeah.
I mean,
I think he will. You know what? I think in Cincinnati, with nice small town,
yeah.
you know, that's really a baseball town, and you won't have all the stupid distractions of Hollywood and all the silliness that goes on. I think he'll be a baseball player, and I think he'll play very well there.
Right.
I mean, listen, nothing for nothing, and I know it's two different circumstances.
I don't think
but
they're.
Matt Harvey seemed to turn his career around a little bit last year when he went to Cincinnati.
I mean,
Thought he pitched a lot better.
and the Reds, just to get to the Reds pitchers, kind of round it out here. I like Sonny Gray this year. If
And
you're
Wood.
fantasy baseball.
And Wood.
Alex Wood, he's already banged up though. But that's kind of what.
Well,
he
he's
is.
always- yeah,
banged
he's
up. But
always
when he
hurt.
pitches, he's pretty good. Tanner Roark comes over from Washington. He's going to give you close to 200 innings. How good those innings are going to remain to be seen. But he's going to lock some innings for you.
He can keep his ERA under 4, though.
Luis Castillo, who I think is
He's one of the better starting pitchers in baseball.
He's definitely an up-and-comer. He's a high strikeout guy. He's got a very high swing
He
strike
kind of,
rate.
you know who he reminds me of a lot
And
of? When Cueto came up. You remember when Cueto came up? Cueto burst on the scene. Castillo, I see the same thing with him. He's a real good pitcher.
I like the Reds. I think they're going to win the Central. I think the Central's wide open.
I still think Milwaukee. I think Hader is going to be dominant in that bullpen for them.
I think that the Nationals and the Brewers are going to be wild card teams.
I could see that.
And it's going to, but
and I see the
can the Brewers get to another deep playoff run with no starting pitching? Literally none. I mean, they kind of caught. I mean, Christian Yelich is a good player, but he carried that lineup on his back. I mean, he was hitting for a cycle every night. It felt like.
Well, Aguilar is really good too.
I'm not questioning their everyday.
They have a good lineup.
They have a tremendous lineup. They might have the best. I mean,
they might have the best lineup in the National League.
I mean, Kane, Yelich, Aguilar, Shaw, Braun, Moustakas, Grandal comes over.
He can't catch, but he can hit.
Yeah, it's true.
He's the Gary Sanchez of the National League.
And then you have Orlando Arcia is just the fill-in.
Right.
He's the shortstop 8-hitter. So that's a tremendous lineup.
That's a good lineup.
But, Shasheen, Chase Anderson, Zach Davis, Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, who I actually like, Jimmy Nelson's already hurt.
Again? Is that again with Jimmy Nelson, or is that still?
Unearned run. He's still recovering from shoulder surgery. He pitched 3 innings the other day. Well, he'll probably be back at some point. But, I mean, 2 years in a row. I get 1 year. You fool everyone. You got the great bullpen and the great lineup. But, I mean, Brad, there's nobody. I mean, it's not even like, at least every 5th day, Nola's going to take the mound. Or Walker Buehler's going to take the mound.
I understand. But I just don't. They can hit, though.
I think they're going to be a wild card team.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is going to. I think St. Louis is a good team. Is a real good team now.
Knable, Hader, Jacob Barnes, Jeremy Jeffries is injured. We'll see about him, but I have them slated as a wild card team taking on the Nationals, and you would have to favor the Nationals in a 1-game playoff because they're going to have
Scherzer. Absolutely.
Scherzer on the mound.
Absolutely.
Just like you would favor the Phillies in a potential
1 game. Oh, 1 game with Nola pitching. Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, that's how the Yankees have gotten by these last few years.
Yeah, because they've had
Severino.
They've had Severino. Yeah, I mean that. Although Severino hasn't pitched, Severino did pitch well against Oakland last year. He didn't pitch well against Minnesota, but Robertson bailed him out in that game.
Nitro freak. So Kyle thinks the Nationals are better without Bryce Harper. They relied on Harper in big spots, and now they can play as a team. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kyle.
No,
that's just not.
No, the baseball is different from the other sports, Kyle.
Baseball, you can have 8 individuals who just want to hit the ball as far as they can.
Yeah, it's a little different, but
if you do what's best for yourself as a baseball player, I would say 95% of the time it's also what's best for the team.
Well, I mean, if he's going by the fact that now you're going to get Soto up there, and Soto's going to get more at bats, and who's the other guy that's supposed to be an outstanding prospect?
Victor
Robles. Yeah, Victor Robles is going to be coming up, and he might be able to hit some bombs and take away the sting a little bit.
Okay, but you're missing the lefty slugger MVP candidate in the middle of your lineup.
Soto could be that player though.
You're not maybe.
Soto could be that guy. I mean, Soto last year looked like a real good player.
I just have a hard time believing that a team gets better by letting Bryce Harper walk
I don't know
away.
that I'm not saying that they get better. I will say that they're going to have a better pitching staff this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you trade
gonna,
Harper for Corbin, you should have a better pitching staff.
They're going to have Corbin. I mean, they're going to have Corbin, Scherzer, and Strasburg. So I mean, you've got a big three there, and they should still hit. They still have a tremendous lineup. They don't have Harper anymore, and but we'll see what happens. I mean, the Phillies absolutely needed that big guy in the middle of the order.
Soto does rake Kyle, but I don't know. I'm just not buying. I'm not buying that.
Soto is great. He really is. Boy, he hit some home runs in Yankee Stadium last year that were very, very impressive. He hit one to left field as a left-handed batter, and I still can't believe that ball went out. But I think it was a game against Sonny Gray. I think he hit 2 home runs against Sonny Gray, and they were both to left field and very impressive.
All right, so we got.
He's a real good hitter.
He's a good hitter.
He's a real good hitter.
All right, we got about 8 minutes left on the program. Let's talk some little NFL news and notes. Eagles active today. They bring over a backup safety in Andrew Zendeo from the hated, despised Minnesota Vikings. So he's going to play for the good guys now. Dave Gettleman on with Mike Francesca. A lot of Giants fans are really outraged. He said they're rebuilding, but you can still win. He says Eli Manning's not overpaid when he clearly is.
I don't recall him making a big deal about whether he's overpaid or not. I think that right now with the Giants, they just don't. What he's basically saying is,
what about Golden Tate? Like, what is that?
Golden Tate's a good, solid receiver. He's not Odell Beckham. We know that.
A lot of money.
We $23 million for 4 years.
Isn't he the same receiver skill set wise as Shepard?
Pretty much.
So how is that smart to have 2 Sterling Shepards, 2 slot receivers?
Well, Shepard is going to go to the outside.
Is he capable of going to the outside?
Dave Gettleman thinks he is. So he's going to go to the outside.
I haven't been a fan of the Giants offseason so far. I don't understand how you can let Odell Beckham Jr. Go for that price.
Evan Ingram is going to be the tight end, and he's just as fast as Beckham.
How do you let Odell Beckham Jr. go like that, though? I don't understand. All that to save $5 million in cap space.
It wasn't to save $5 million in cap space. They felt like they're going to get 3.
Then why did you sign him?
You'd have to ask Dave Gettleman that. They didn't sign him to trade him. But
they did sign him to trade him. He's gone. He's not on the team anymore. What are you talking about?
I realize that, but they did get a first, a third, and a safety. So I mean, they did better than Pittsburgh did.
Okay, but I mean, the NFL draft is it's the biggest crapshoot there is. You're almost just as likely to get an All-Pro in the 4th round than you are at the back end of the 1st round.
Okay, but
do you think they're going to trade for Josh Rosen like I suspect they're going to do?
They might. They're
going to give their 2nd-round pick for
next
Josh
year.
Rosen?
No, I think next year. I think what they're going to do is they're going to give them a 3rd-round pick next year. That's conditional. That could be a 2nd-round pick if he plays 8 games.
Is that what they're going to? Then they're going to tell you because Josh Rosen, I think he blows.
I
don't think he's good.
He was not very good with the Cardinals last year. We don't know. You can't
so
sit
much
here and tell me
that I think the Cardinals are going to take Kyler Murray in the
they love Kyler
first
Murray.
overall pick.
which I'm
after
sure they
picking Josh Rosen just outside the top 10 the year before.
right. I think they're going to do that, which I'm sure the Jets are going to be thrilled about because that's going to guarantee that the Jets are either going to get one of those two behemoth defensive ends.
The Jets are in a good spot.
Yeah, that's the
Get
spot.
Bell. Hopefully you have Darnold. I think Robbie Anderson's a pretty good receiver.
Now they got Crowder. He's okay.
Yeah, he was hurt. He can never really stay healthy.
He's okay.
Nitro Freak checks back in. Brad's going to like this one. The Giants are going back to their roots, pound the ball, and spread it out. Get rid of the diva.
That is
was
what
a good
they are.
move. Sucks to say that. They didn't
That's
get
what they're
going to
try to do.
But they were going nowhere with Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, okay. I mean, whatever. If you want to spin it that way, that you're going to try and rebuild.
Well, that's what they
build
are
the
trying
team
to
the
do.
right way.
They are trying to do that.
I do like that you got rid of Olivier Vernon because I think he made way too much money, even though he was a productive pass
Yeah, but he
rusher
wasn't
for you
playing.
last year.
He never played. Played like 6 games last year or 7 games last year. He misses too much time. He's always hurting that ankle of his. I mean, it's been 3 years in a row he's injured that ankle. So I mean, he's the older he gets, the more he's going to keep hurting that same ankle. Look, the Giants right now are in a position where if they draft well,
I don't understand
I think they
why
could be
you're
okay.
I don't understand why you're paying Eli Manning.
It's only for 1 more year.
Okay.
If they cut Eli Manning, they're still going to have to pay. They're still going to have $6 million of dead cap space. So at this point, I don't know. And listen, I don't know that they think that Haskins is going to be the answer, or Locke, or who's the guy from Duke?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. I don't think that they. I don't think that they. I don't know that they
The
think.
Giants should use, what do they have, the 6th pick and the 17th pick
Yeah.
now? They
Mhm.
need defense.
Well, that's what they're going to do.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Pretty much. Dave Gettleman pretty much, when he was talking to Francesa today, he pretty much made a point to say that he's looking to improve his defense. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, but he also just said at the Combine that he didn't sign Odell Beckham to trade him, and then a week later, Odell Beckham's on the Cleveland Browns.
He also tried to trade him to the 49ers, and then he tried to trade him to the Bills. The Bills didn't want any part of him, and the 49ers didn't want to give up the 2nd-round pick. So, I mean, I don't know. Listen, the Giants are going to try to build through the draft.
Do you have anyone you're looking at? You've looked up on the internet or watched about on the NFL Network that you want them to target with their 1st-round picks? What about a position?
Oh, I'd like to see 2 defensive ends.
You need pass rush.
Yep. I want 2 defensive ends. I want to see them build the way they did when they had OCU Manura on one side, Strahan on the other
What are
side.
you playing, 3-4 now or 4-3?
They're in a 3-4. I mean, they got themselves a pretty good linebacker who can rush the passer.
Who's that? Lorenzo Carter
Yes,
from Georgia.
They also
SEC.
signed a guy from the Cardinals who can rush the quarterback.
So maybe it's not all doom and gloom there in New York, because the Cowboys haven't done anything.
I don't think that the Giants are going to be any worse than they were last year. I just don't.
And then you have
They were scoring plenty of points without Odell Beckham. I mean,
and then you have the Redskins. They're hopeless, and I think the Eagles are the favorites going into the draft.
between the Eagles and the Cowboys.
I mean, the Eagles made improvements. The Giants, or the Cowboys haven't done anything.
No, they've done. They made sure they kept DeMarco Lawrence though.
Looks like they're in on Eric Berry, but I'm not sure how much Eric Berry has left.
Can Eric Berry play anymore?
He hasn't lately. He was once a great player, but
yeah, I mean
he's got the foot heel condition.
The foot and the
had
cancer. I mean, Eric Berry. I just don't.
Well,
think
they need a safety, and the Ravens stole Earl Thomas from him.
Yeah, well,
thank God. I would want to play
would...
Earl Thomas twice a year. That guy is good. And he's going to be super motivated to play because he got fucked over by Seattle because they wouldn't
Yeah.
pay him. Then he
And then
broke
he
his
hurt
leg,
himself.
so he's going to be loaded for bear.
And by the
then-
way, I want to get to the Browns right now before we go.
They're looking
okay?
good.
Because I'm getting a little tired of hearing how great the Browns are going to be. I got to tell you something, okay?
They're
They
going to
have-
score points.
Yeah, but they got a lot of assholes on their team. Okay, and let's be honest. Okay, there are 4 mouths on that team that are going to be problems. Okay,
Well, you got-
Olivier Vernon, his mouth.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Landry Fields' mouth.
Jarvis
I'm
Landry.
sorry, Jarvis Landry's mouth.
Who's Landry Fields?
Landry Fields was on the Knicks. I'm sorry. Jarvis Landry's mouth. And the other mouth, Mr. Mayfield.
Mr. Mayfield.
They all have big mouths. They all have big egos.
So you think that's
I
going
think
to
that-
get in the way of their success next season?
Yes, I do.
And I'm sure you're rooting for that as well because you probably hate hearing how good the Browns are going to be when the
I
Giants
can't
are.
stand hearing it. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I don't think the Browns are better than the Ravens. And I think that the chemistry on that team is going to be screwed up. And here's the other thing I'm going to tell you, okay? All these jackasses on that team and a first-year coach. Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
Freddie Kitchens.
I can't wait to see how that works out. Yeah, okay. A first-year coach with 4 of the biggest mouths in the league. Okay. We'll see how that works out. I don't know. But you know what? Football is a game of discipline. It's a game of leadership. It's a 53 men playing as one. Okay? And I don't know that they can do that. Just my opinion. Okay? You can call me sour grapes, and yeah, I 100% admit it. Little sour grapes here, but you know what? There's a lot of big mouths on that team, and I wouldn't be anointing them when they only won 7 games last year to be better than the Ravens. I still think the Ravens win that division.
I love
Even
Baker.
without C.J.
I
Reed.
love Baker. I love that.
Even without
Landry,
C.J.
I
Mosley.
love it. I love it. I think the Browns are going to be so much fun next year. It might be a bad fun, but they're going to be fun.
Oh, they will be.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll do it. This edition. Enjoy the tournament this week. Temple Belmont tomorrow. Farleigh Dickinson. We're sorry we couldn't deliver Coach Herenda tonight. But, Brad, we are going to have Jim Jackson on next week.
Jim Jackson will be on next week.
April 25th. We promise Jim Jackson to you next week.
Next
April
Monday night. No,
March 25th.
March
What did I say?
25th,
April
yeah.
25th?
March
No,
25th.
March 25th.
Jim Jackson will be here to talk about the Flyers playoff possibilities and preview the Phillies season.
Preview the Phillies. So
And enjoy it because, once the baseball season starts, we probably are not going to be able to.
yes, and
talk
we will
to Jim,
we will
so.
vote. We will root for Coach Herenda tomorrow as Farleigh Dickinson takes on Prairie View A&M.
Yes, we
we'll
will.
try and reschedule that for a later date.
Yes.
But until next Monday, peace.